Welcome to The Cauldron, a podcast hosted by Ed Bolton-Greer, the creator of Vail. In each episode, Ed will have free-flowing conversations about horror, life, culture, and personal growth. Expect to hear from storytellers, authors, horror experts, life gurus, thought leaders, and influencers. The Cauldron is a place where concoctions of a lot of ideas are brewed down to potions that are sometimes important and useful, sometimes eccentric and bizarre, but always just what you need. The Cauldron podcast may contain explicit language and thematic elements not suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Well, hey there, family. As I mentioned at the end of our last episode, we didn't want to leave out any of the spine-tingling details from Jacob's haunting. So we decided to split the content into 2 episodes to bring you every bit of the paranormal goodness. As promised, here's the second part of Jacob's haunting. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the eerie journey. Our team went back to HQ and we took a little rest for a minute, talked about what we had experienced with the rest of the team. And then Jacob and I went on our walk through the facility because the way that I conduct paranormal investigations is that nobody is ever alone.
No.
Nobody should ever be alone.
Thank you.
And we take and we walk the facility.
Yes.
And it's a 1-floor perimeter that we had. And we were walking through the front part of the facility. And as we walked back the hallway, it was kind of, I didn't really feel anything. We got back to the end of that hallway, which leads into another hallway.
Yes.
And I started getting little tingly sensations. Mm-hmm. We went into a couple rooms as we were going back, but nothing really, I didn't really feel a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And got to that corner and I thought, it feels like something, but nothing I could identify. So we went on.
Yes. We were walking around in the pitch dark, I might also add.
Yeah, it was dark.
And I had, in my research that I had done, I had read that sometimes spirits that are here on our plane don't feel comfortable making themselves seen in this immediate physical world, but sometimes they can present themselves in the reflections of mirrors. And quite a few of the rooms that we went into had some reflective surfaces like mirrors in them. So I was just asking if there were any spirits in there to look into the mirror, and I would constantly be looking around. It was really interesting because I am very conceited. So this was the first time in my life where I was looking directly at my own reflection but not looking at it. I was like looking around the corners, trying to see stuff. And it was He
actually started turning and side-eyeing the mirror.
Yeah. I was like... I was like spinning in place like a little planet.
It was quite humorous, but I was very proud of you taking the initiative to try to see something.
It was extremely nerve-wracking. I know I tried. If you guys listen to the audio recordings that are going to be sprinkled in and out, you may know, like, man, Jacob sounds pretty calm. That was also probably because I was drinking a couple of beers for Liquid Courage, but I was...
and we had gone to Polancho's prior to that,
so we had
some alcohol there too.
I sound like I was super, super calm, but that was purely a facade. I was afraid that if I came across as like weak, that a spirit would latch onto that. You know what I mean? But I'm telling you, spinning around very slowly, as silly as it sounds, and then looking into the mirror, every time I got ready to make a full revolution and stare back into the mirror, my heart was beating out of my chest. I was so, so anxious.
I get that. So we walked down that hall, and the last door on that hallway has a big mirror in it.
Huge.
And we didn't feel anything.
No.
And we were kind of a little disappointed. Jacob was intensely wanting to encounter something. He gets it later, but we are then walking around the rest of that, and we walk out the hallway. We go back to HQ.
Yes.
A couple 10 minutes later, myself and Veronica do that same walk but backwards. Okay, and we got to the last room on the short hall.
Yes.
I know this for the listeners might get a little confusing, but I'm mostly telling the directions for Jacob's sake. We got to the last room that's in that short hall across from the resource area, and we felt a really good feeling. Like I just felt like the warm fuzzies.
Yes.
Right. And V said that we said it at different times, but at the same time as well.
Yeah, you guys experienced
yeah.
it at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we didn't talk about it with each other until we got back.
Mm-hmm.
And then we walked down that short hall and was making the turn to go down the back hall. When we got to 5, okay, we felt a very weird, bad feeling. That I'm going to call it a bad feeling.
Yeah, some negative energy of some sort.
Yeah, I didn't want to go past that door. It was open. I didn't want to go past it. I was trying to go back down to the end of that hallway where I'd felt something weird.
In that corner,
Yeah,
right?
in the corner. And so I just couldn't go down that hall. Like, it wasn't so much fear. It just felt like I just didn't want or need to go down that hall.
Mm-hmm.
So we backtracked and we went around to the front hallway, and we sat in the front hallway and talked about that. And we may include that. I don't know what Nick will put on out of the queue, but we sat there, and then we went back to HQ, and then you and Veronica and Jared, or you, Starla and Jared? Starla and Jared.
I think it was me, Starla, and Jared.
Yeah, went on a solo or on a group, but a solo trip without me.
Well, what I'll say after you and V came back, so we had cameras set up. One was going down one main hallway.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And it had night vision, infrared on it. And one of the cameras was pointed at this creepy-ass doll we had set up in a chair in an adjacent room.
And the doll lives in that office.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy. It scared me. But anyway, we then moved the doll camera to then point down this hallway, this very long hallway into this kind of front foyer-ish kind of area. And while other people were going on walks, I was glued to the screen trying to see if I could see anything. So it was shortly after you and V had come back, you guys were having a discussion about what you were feeling and where you were feeling it. And then I think it was Starla or somebody that I tapped on their leg and said, whoa, what is that on the camera? So we started looking at the camera that was pointed down the hall. And I swear to you, it looked like the shoulders and the head and like the left leg down to the foot. Almost, and I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it, almost like something was like peering around the corner. And I got 2 other people to look at it and say, what is that? Do you guys see that? What is this? And then I said, why don't you guys like shoot the infrared down the hallway, check the temperature. And when you guys started interacting with it, it disappeared. And I constantly kept looking at the camera like, well, maybe it was the lights from maybe a car driving by, but it never was able to be recreated.
Right. The other thing is we did notice a temperature difference, and it was like 4 degrees.
Yeah, it was a significant drop.
We were in a 68 degree temperature, and it went down to 64 in that area. Mm-hmm. So we're quite not sure what it was.
No.
We would like to believe it was like lights from a car or something, but it was too substantial for that.
Every time I would watch it and I could see lights passing by, right? That same sort of form whatever you want to call it, never showed back up. But I find the timing on it very interesting. It was immediately after you guys came back.
Yeah.
Almost like, and this is
Something
creeping me
followed
out.
us.
Yeah, it's like something fucking followed you guys.
And then you and Starla and Jared were the next group out.
No, it was me, Jared, and Veronica.
Veronica were the next group out. And you all experienced something.
Yeah.
It wasn't huge, but it was something we had not experienced.
Yes. So we went into a larger room right before that corner that we've been talking about. And if you're wondering about the room, we designated the room numbers so that way we could keep track of what we were seeing. So we were outside of what we designated as room 3.
Yep.
Right there at that corner. And there was the hallway that they're attached to, right? And we're sitting and we're just kind of talking. I'm asking the spirits. I mean, the listeners, you guys will be very proud. Even as scared as I was actively trying to be like, if there's anything here, any spirit, make yourself known. You know, I was asking politely, not telling, asking politely, give us a sign, knock on the wall, something like that, right?
Right.
Well, we sit in that room for a couple of minutes. Nothing happens. V says, I'm not really feeling much here anymore. Let's walk around some of the rooms. So I duck into the room we designated as room 3 because I knew it had a mirror in it. And as I'm walking in, I'm in the room by myself, and I am asking the spirit, if there is one, to either show up in the mirror or knock once to just signify that it hears us. And as I'm leaning to look into the mirror, I hear a solitary. And at first, I was like, okay. And I was like, don't let it distract you, Jacob. See if you can see anything in the mirror. And at first, I didn't trust whether or not I heard it or not. I didn't know if I had bumped into something or somebody else had bumped into something. But it very clearly was a knock. And I had a mic on, and I think somebody else in that group had a mic on too. So hopefully we can rip that audio. But I didn't see anything in the mirror. But immediately, we walked out of the room. And in that hallway, leading towards the room that had the very large mirror in it,
Which is 5.
which was, we designated as 5, it just felt like the air was almost suffocating. Like, the only way I can really describe it is that it kind of felt like if you've ever been in a crawl space or like an attic.
Oh, like stale air.
Yeah, stale and stuffy. And we had already been walking around, and I know for a fact that the air conditioning was running. We could hear it the whole time. But it was almost like when we walked out of that room 3 after hearing the knock, it was like a blanket of like thick humidity almost is how it kind of felt.
Gotcha. So you weren't the only one that heard the knock, though.
No. V and Jared both kind of, according to them, it was pitch dark. I couldn't see. But according to them, they both stopped and like looked at each other. I continued on trying to look into the mirror. And then I was a little shaken by it. So I didn't bring it back up as we were walking out of there. You know, I was like, okay, yeah, all right, let's walk around a little bit more. The moment that we crossed out of room 5's doorway and into kind of like a back holding area, it was like a dead end type of area, we just immediately, it's like we could breathe fine again. It wasn't like it was an issue. And for the listeners that may say, oh, Jacob, the labored breathing, the stale air thing, you may have just been having like a panic attack or being anxious. Guys, I fight for fun. I know what it feels like to have huge amounts of adrenaline pump through me. And to some degree, I can control how that affects me. That was not what I was feeling. I felt like almost, I don't know how to describe it, Ed. It was different than being afraid. It was different than being scared. It just felt. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I felt that a lot, especially the heaviness.
That heaviness was a reoccurring thing, especially as we walked up a stairwell at one point, you, me, and V, right? You and V had previously been there during the investigation. You guys wanted me to go check it out type of thing.
It just felt like something was, I'm saying something because I don't think there was anybody else in the building.
No.
It's a big building.
It's a big building.
No
But
cars.
ours were the
there.
only cars in the parking lot.
And so I kept every time I would go by, I kept feeling like there was somebody up at the top of the stairs, just kind of trying to figure out what we were doing.
Yeah.
And at first I thought, well, maybe somebody's on call, but the organization that used to have the on-call person is gone now. They're not in that building anymore. So
Yeah.
I had that realization.
As I was walking up the stairs where they had purported to have felt something, I was walking up the stairs, and again, that heaviness started washing over me again. And I was walking upstairs. The oddest way I could describe it is that it felt like the steps on the stairs were longer than they should have been. Like my foot was being swallowed up by them. And I get up to this sort of landing area, and I'm looking up into the darkness, and V or you had the flashlight, and you guys started to shine it up the stairway where I was at. And at first, this is kind of comical, I got scared as shit because I thought I saw an apparition. And then I realized it was the light of my own reflection in this window that was right there. But it didn't take long for me to be like, all right, I'm coming down the stairs.
Or was it?
I don't know. Whatever it was, it definitely, if it was an apparition, it was a very handsome apparition.
Yeah, I got you.
Well, hey there, family. I'm Jordan Walker, the voice of Palmer Ashford here at the Ravens Vail podcast. At Ravens Vail, we love telling you our story. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Appalachian Horror Fest 2024. Appalachian Horror Fest 2024 is an evening of music and storytelling themed around the macabre. The event will take place on Saturday, October 12th, 2024 at Central Cinema in Knoxville, Tennessee from 5:30 until 9:30 p.m. Our hauntingly talented musicians will serenade you with the eerie tunes that echo through the misty Appalachian foothills. Gather round as our master storytellers weave their blood-curdling tales. Legends of restless spirits, vengeful ghosts, and ancient curses will dance in your imagination. Tickets are on sale now at AppalachianHorrorFest.com/tickets. Oh, storytellers, if your words can raise goosebumps and summon sleeping spirits, step into the spotlight. Submit your spine-chilling tale at AppalachianHorrorFest.com/storytellers. Appalachian Horror Fest, where nightmares come to life. We hope to see you there.
There was another group that included Starla and Jared, and they had some of their own experiences. And then Starla, myself, and Jared went back to the hallway where the space between room 2 and room 3 were.
Okay.
Where the corners encapsulated in that.
Yes.
Where we'd been feeling things. And there was a lot of activity. Whatever the feeling from room 5 earlier manifested.
Okay.
But there was also another thing. I don't really know if it was an entity, a person, or an energy, which was in the corner. I will say it felt more like a spirit than the thing from the area in room 5. Okay.
Yes.
Room 5 just felt like negativity, negative energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were sitting in absolute darkness. Like the only thing we had was the tiny little green light from the microphones.
Yes.
The lavalier microphones that we had. And we all felt the same things at the same time. They didn't manifest necessarily the same way for each of us. I got lots of goose flesh or goosebumps.
Yeah.
When things were happening. Starla got emotional, and Jared, his reaction was kind of startled.
Alrighty, it's 10:57. I'm walking out with Starla and Ed. This is Jared.
So Starla,
Yes.
I will say that originally up at this door, V and I both felt something, but then when I walked up here, when Jacob thought he saw something on the camera, it felt like it was walking away. So
It doesn't feel the same.
It does not feel the same, no.
It feels like the light is giving them comfort. Like they're not, I don't know. They are not making themselves present with the light on. However, is it okay if I sit down in here? I am going to sit down. Again, we are just curious. We mean you no harm.
We are currently sitting in what we call the retreat room in almost total darkness. We have some ambient light coming from the equipment and a little bit through the blinds and the blackout curtains. But it's pretty dark in here, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
We're open currently to any entity or person who might be here to connect with us, either through conversation or through any type of communication. I am open to being a vessel for you to communicate through, but I deny you access to possessing me. I bar you from entering my body without my permission, and I'm willing to be the medium link between you and the other people in the room. If you're here, give us a sign. So that same energy that I felt earlier is still in that corner hallway.
For me, right now, I am feeling curious. Earlier, when I came back here, I felt like I was intruding and being disrespectful if I stepped into this room.
I get what you're saying. We're each going to feel that differently. This is a male.
I feel like it's protecting something, guarding something.
Yeah, maybe. I feel, not currently, I don't feel like we're protected. I feel like that could be a reason that they're here. I feel like that could very possibly be why they're here or why they're sticking around. This is not, like I said earlier over there, this is not an energy that I felt here before. And so this is new. This is a new entity for me. I don't know if it's a transient entity and it's just here curious or what. One thing I do know is that it is curious about us, that's for sure. It keeps kind of hiding in the darkness, but it'll come forward just a little bit. We're not here to hurt you or to cause any problems. We're here out of our own curiosity. Most of the people on this team have not experienced communicating with someone like we're trying to communicate with you. Did y'all just get a loud ringing in your ears?
That was the music.
No, this is like a high pitch, like
It was on the soundtrack.
I don't think so, but maybe. I mean, you can turn the sound off right there.
Where?
There.
Oh.
No, it's a high pitch. It feels mechanical almost.
I don't hear it. But there's something on the floor.
Over there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that I felt when I first walked in. Like earlier when Jared and I came back through here. It was in this room and it felt like I was intruding if I took a step further until I asked permission.
This is so I'm going to say this is not the same entity that is in room 5 or wouldn't let me go past, or I didn't want to go past, I guess I should say. This is not that same entity. This does feel like the entity. When Jacob and I walked through this room and we got to there, both of us kind of stopped and got that feeling, Then we went on into room 3. I keep seeing little shadows of white,
Mm-hmm.
and I know there's light. I'm trying to shine my light not there, to have it over here. But Jared, what are you feeling?
That corner just feels heavy to me. I definitely get a sense of sadness.
Yeah. If there's anybody here, we would like to connect with you. Feel free to connect with me. Feel free to use my energy if you need to.
It is in this room.
Yeah, it moved in. It's over here.
Yep. I feel like I need to step through that doorway and stand right at that doorway.
Over here?
Right here toward room number 2.
Okay. Am I imagining it, or is it just darker there?
No, it's definitely darker.
So I'm sensing that male energy. It's still the same entity. I feel like it's older. Very sad. Very, very, very sad. Feels like it feels very displaced. He feels very displaced. Feels like very confused. You can talk to us. This is really weird. I get the sense of metal. Like, not shiny like chrome metal, but like some type of metal. Starla, I
Yes.
think take a couple steps back real quick.
Backwards?
Yeah. Just kind of take yourself out of the zone for a minute. No, you can come forward. He likes that you're here.
I felt like I needed to at least leave where I was sitting.
Yeah. It's really weird.
Is this the guy who likes to watch me?
No.
Okay.
No. This is a person you remind them. It's either mother or older sister. They're not attached to you, but it's like mother, older sister.
A negative feeling?
No.
Okay.
No.
Can I come back in the room?
No. Actually, walk across the room.
Do I have permission to walk
You don't
across
have
the
to
room?
have permission. You kind of smirking about that, like you're alive, he's dead.
Well,
Stand in that door.
I want to be respectful.
I understand. It's just
Whatever's in this corner is not here right now.
no, it was him. Just stand there at that door. Yeah, he likes you. He likes you. Likes your energy. Definitely are playing an older sibling or a mother figure right now. But he's old. He's in his 70s.
Is he just passing through? Did he get lost?
Just here for a visit. Don't got much else to do. Really likes the energy here. Likes having all the people around. It feels like stroke. Feels like half my body doesn't work right now.
I need to step into the room for a second. There's something down this hallway
Come in.
that is not good.
No. Come in.
Okay.
You're fine.
All right.
Got your guard. Actually, he just walked behind you.
Okay, well, he's investigating.
What are you feeling, Jared?
I've been Mostly paying attention to the other thing.
He's coming to right beside you. So don't freak out if you feel pricklings. Chill bumps all over me. What do you want? No, I'm not going to be scared. I don't like the energy. I don't like the feeling. You're not going to scare me. This is my place. You're not supposed to be here. Did not like me turning my back on it. It's okay.
He's on guard again. Like, he's being, to me, it feels like what's in here is being invaded. Like something.
You feel that right there?
I do, yes.
Right in front of me.
Yes. It's dark right here beside me.
Yeah.
But it feels like.
You can't be there. Not you, Starla. You can't be there. You can come over here, but you can't be there.
This guy beside me that likes me, he's on edge right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like I need to step out again.
No, you're in here in the protected area right now. You don't go anywhere. That feeling you feel is from whatever that is there. Does it feel like it's trying to expand?
Which one?
Oh, he's startled. Your guy over there's startled by this.
Yeah.
He's in protective mode. No, this thing here. I don't think this was human. It's definitely not a demon. It's just negative energy.
I don't feel like it's expanding. I think it's jumping from area to area.
Well, this is not something that we're going to allow.
I don't want this chaos.
We also did a post investigation kind of confessional, if you will. I don't know any other way. Just every person that was in the investigation did their own little, here's what I think and feel.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll definitely put those at the end of this part or this segment. But I have a couple questions for you.
Yes.
First of all, I want to say I'm very proud because, you could have backed out of this at any time.
I thought about it multiple times.
Yeah, I know. And honestly, the delay in us getting this was that we were going to use an independent paranormal team, and we just couldn't find one that we felt confident in.
Yes.
Now, there were lots of them that we know and trust across the country, but getting them here, and that's not to say anything bad or negative about the paranormal teams that we talked to, but we wanted a what I call a dead reading, where they have no information about the facility,
Mm-hmm.
and they come in, and lots of the people who we talked to wanted us to give them lots and lots of information about the facility.
Literally, one was like, they wanted us to give an itemized list of everything that we knew about it,
Yeah.
which kind of seemed a little fishy.
Yeah. So I have a couple questions for you.
Okay.
Number one, that night we talked about potentially going to Starla's house, and she wants us to do an investigation, and you said you were all up for it.
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
Yes.
So congratulations on that. I think you've moved a little past the phasmophobia. I think it's still there, but I think you're healing.
Well, I think it was in a way immersion therapy. You'll know in my kind of like post investigation video clip that I made comments similar to like, well, I didn't really experience what I wanted to. And what I mean by that, for the listeners that see it, I mean that I think I set the standards a little bit too high for what I expected. I really expected, I went in there thinking that I was going to see spirits walking around, coming through the wall, that things were going to get knocked off of the wall. And you can kind of hear it in my voice where I was almost a little disappointed that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But I do want the listeners to understand that I had such an amazing experience, such a good time, that it genuinely shocked me how much fun I was having. Like what Ed said earlier, when we looked up and realized we were out of time, I almost wanted to be like, do you guys want to stay a little bit longer? Like I really was interested in seeing and feeling what I had imagined in my head. But given a couple of days out and reflecting on it and really thinking about how I feel, talking to my partners about what I saw, what I heard, what I felt, I walk away now feeling pretty impressed with what had happened. Now, was it literally poltergeist level, like Poltergeist the movie level of interaction? No, but I don't think it has to be that every single time.
Oh, and it's rarely that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's rarely that. And, I will say a lot of the shows that are on television about paranormal investigations, I kind of sit back and chuckle a little bit at them. I think they have good intent, but they, just like us, they're looking for clicks.
Yeah, exactly. They're looking to drum it up a little bit more than what it's like because they have to. They have to get this, a secure budget for the next season. I get that. I get that.
I really saw you enjoying it,
Mm-hmm.
and you're willing to do another one. So I'm going to kind of divulge something. You are not necessarily a believer in the church.
No, yeah.
You have question marks, lots of question marks.
Of course, yeah.
And so one of the things that you had said is you were kind of trying to reconcile how there's a spirit world if you don't believe in an afterlife.
Yeah.
Okay. And I believe that I have an answer for you on that. I believe that the things that we call poltergeists or spirits or ghosts, I don't believe that they're disembodied people who are trapped here. I'm going along the avenue because I am a believer.
Of course.
I don't believe that they are trapped here and being held back from paradise or heaven. Okay. I believe that those things that we just talked about, ghosts, poltergeists, all those, I believe those are just energetic entities that are remnants left over. I believe that if you are a horrible human being, you might leave behind negativity. And I think that we can interact with that energy. I think that all too often society wants to make it, here again, something to be scared of. And I believe that there are times to be scared of that, But time and time again, in the facility we were in, having been there some, when things were going on, nothing seemed inherently malevolent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you and I both know that there's far more under the sun than what you or I will ever understand.
Of course. Yeah.
You've even advocated for interdimensional beings.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so I think that a lot of what people find in these, like when they really find something, it's not necessarily a ghost, although it can be. I think that the ghosts that we feel and see are between the dimensions. Does that make sense?
No, trust me.
Like if we exist, like Einstein said, if we exist on all planes and all dimensions and all things at the same time, and it's all different in each plane, then there has to be a plane where we're already gone, and or all the planes were gone. Perhaps they all have the same end point and beginning point. So I'm not a believer in long-term hauntings.
Okay.
From the person doesn't get to go to heaven, right? Or hell. And I know that's outside your belief system currently, but as a result of that, I believe that what we have labeled as ghost hunting is really paranormal,
Yeah.
meaning above the norm, if you will.
I would like to use the term supernatural, something that
Supernaturals
is beyond
as
the
well.
natural
Yep.
realm.
And I think that's a good term. So I really appreciate you, not only as a co-host, but living up to the promises that we made. And
Begrudgingly.
I know it was a stretch for you, but look at you today.
Yeah.
Like from Jacob's Haunting, where you were literally, I could say that I could look behind you and, and you were freaking out.
Yeah.
Without having to say anything. To today, there has been such a change. I still think you're a little bit of a fraidy cat.
That's fair.
That'll
That'll
still
probably
gonna be
never
there.
change.
Yeah. And I still think you're like me. You still get that kind of ick factor when we're talking about stuff, But as my last statement on that, if there are ghosts, not just entities and energy, but if there are ghosts, I don't think that they're here forever. I think that they get stuck here for some reason, but I don't think it's forever. I think maybe they just want to see a loved one get through something and then they're released.
I can see that. I definitely encourage any listener who probably aligns a little bit more with the way I look at the world to challenge themselves and go out and do a paranormal investigation. Yeah. I think making yourself uncomfortable in a safe way only makes you a more well-rounded,
absolutely
developed emotionally and spiritually, if you want to use that term, person. I think this investigation had an unintended side effect. I've been back to this facility by myself now, and I did not feel a sort of dread or fear that I had in the past walking around by myself. It now feels a lot. I feel like there's nothing I can be afraid of.
It feels clearer.
It feels clear. That's a wonderful way to put it. And when I'm challenged to think about the way I interpret the world, it's important to meet it head on. And that's what I did. And even though I made jokes this whole time about how I really don't want to do this, I think it's stupid, it's going to be scary. When I was driving home that night, I said to myself quietly, I did it.
You did. I was very proud of you. Hello, Jared.
Hello.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay at the moment.
This was your first paranormal investigation. And had you had other experiences, paranormal type experiences before you came tonight?
Absolutely. You got lots of stories that maybe it'll be good for talking about on the Cauldron itself another day. But I've definitely had experiences in this building before. I was talking to Starla earlier. I don't know if it got caught on audio or not. So I wasn't going into tonight expecting to have any experiences because I knew I've had experiences before. So tonight didn't really prove anything for me one way or the other. But definitely had some experiences tonight. There was a couple of moments. We had a long sit in the retreat room, which that was a really intense 20 minutes. And then walking back through with V and Jacob on that last round, V and I both heard a pretty loud knock at one point. At least it seemed loud. Jacob didn't seem to hear it, and we were all standing pretty much next to each other. So,
would you be willing to do another one of these again?
Yeah, of course.
Starla, thank you very much for participating in tonight's paranormal investigation. How are you feeling?
I feel a little bit better than I did about an hour ago.
Yeah.
I'm starting to kind of calm down a little bit.
Okay. Coming into this, you had never experienced any of this before.
No.
Want to tell us a little bit about your experience?
For me, it was a lot of feelings. I saw darkness, but that was all I saw. Other than that, it was just feelings, like either heaviness, curiosity, like I was intruding on something, like something was on guard. I was feeling more than seeing or hearing.
Would you do it again?
Absolutely.
In fact, while they were gone, you said, hey, would you all come over to my house and see what all's there?
Yes.
Because there's something there.
Yes, there's a whole bunch of somethings there.
Hello, Miss Frank. How are you?
I am awesome. At
So-
a ball.
You've had a lot of paranormal experiences in your life, but you'd never been involved in a paranormal investigation until
Correct.
tonight.
Correct.
Okay. So I want to ask you a couple questions. How are you feeling right now?
I feel a little anxious on the inside, but for the most part, I'm calm. No danger. It's definitely a feeling of protection, just knowledge that there are different energies here.
Gotcha. Could you talk to us about what you experienced on the perimeter walk?
There was less energy on the perimeter walk, although there was definitely energy by the creek once. I don't want to say provoked, but once Jacob walked into the creek, we were noticing changes in the environment around us, and where certain trees were moving and certain trees weren't. Just different spots had different energies.
Gotcha. Tell us a little bit about your experience walking in the hallways.
The hallways. All 3 times I had 3 different feels. The first time walking through, you could feel the difference of energies. On the way back is when I experienced, I don't know if it was anger or a protection spirit over what the building or whatever could have been here, but there was definitely something that made me uneasy, that did not want to be bothered or want us to pass through.
We got you. Okay. Thank you very much. Howdy, Jacob.
Howdy. Hello, everyone. So I broke the seal on my very first paranormal investigation, and all things considered was not as scary as I thought it was going to be. I was real brave tonight, so that was fun.
We'll talk about your brown underwear on the podcast
later. Yeah, it's a nice gift. Although I don't know if I wasn't open to it. I definitely could tell that like the people here were experiencing something, and even though I kind of feel left out, it's still awesome to be surrounded by your friends kind of poking around in the dark. So if I ever get to do another one, sign me up.
Very good. We're going to go ahead and say you and Starla were talking behind us a minute ago, and you said you were willing to go to her house. So
Yeah.
whenever we get that set up, and it's going to be probably next year.
Yeah.
Because it's got no time this year. But are you glad you did it?
Yeah, I think it's a lot like getting into your first fight. Like you just kind of go into it expecting the worst, hoping for the best. And I didn't get thrown through a wall, which I'm happy about.
Didn't get thrown into the ceiling.
Thrown into the ceiling, none of that.
Looks like you got a couple drinks there, though.
You got to get through this any way you can. So it may not be the witching hour, but it's Miller time. Not a sponsor.
We love you, Frady Cat. All right.
Thank you to the listeners that voted for this. This is a really fun experience.
We're going to start heading down the road to finishing this episode, so we would be remiss if we didn't do this.
Of course.
Are you ready for your would you rather question?
I definitely am. Would I rather go on another paranormal?
No. No. Well, maybe it's kind of similar. Would you rather live in a society where art and culture are highly valued, or one where science and innovation are prioritized?
A society where art and culture or science and okay. I think this is kind of a weird question or a weird answer, I guess. I think I would rather go for where science and innovation are prioritized, because I feel like at a certain point, the innovations and advancements reach kind of like a plateau, which allows us the breathing room to then focus on art and culture.
I think that's what Greece experienced when it was dominating everything.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, I got one for you.
Okay.
Speaking of Greece and culture, would you rather live in a society where everyone is completely honest,
No.
or where everyone is always kind?
I'm going to choose kind.
Really?
Yeah. I don't necessarily want people to be so terribly dishonest that they're lying about everything. But, I heard a preacher say one time, it's little white lies are okay.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Saying, wow, Jacob, that
Tank top looks so good on me.
that tank top looks so debonair on you. I think that lots of times in society, we put out the information. Those people who say, well, I just tell it like it is. That doesn't mean that I have to talk about your tank top. By the way, I like your tank top.
Thank you.
Jurassic Park, everybody. But if you ask me, I'm probably going to find the best part of it, and always try to be kind.
I definitely think that's the Southerner coming out of you.
Mhm.
Everybody's kind down here. Do you want to hear a dad joke?
Well, yes, of course I want to hear a dad joke. I want to hear a really good dad joke.
I can't promise that, but I've got a dad joke, okay? Why did the politician bring a ladder to the debate? To reach new heights in their arguments. I also saw a variant. They wanted to get a step up on the opponent.
All right. Wow. Well, family, that wraps up part 2 of our paranormal investigation entitled Jacob's Hunting. We hope you enjoyed every spine-tingling moment and found the paranormal encounters as fascinating as we did. A huge thanks to all of our loyal listeners for joining us on this eerie journey. Your support and enthusiasm keeps the cauldron bubbling with new and exciting tales. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll be sharing some of our favorite things in an episode we call the Ravensvale Cauldron Best Of Episode. Now, family, you adults have a few chores to do. Go on over to ravensvale.com and see about doing your chores on social media. Follow us on all the social media platforms that we've made available just for you folks. Like, listen, subscribe, and follow wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you don't mind, please leave us a good rating and a kind comment. You can find the Ravensvale Cauldron podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Just search the Ravensvale Cauldron podcast and make sure you hit the follow button to stay up to date with all the latest episodes.
And family, don't forget to tell your friends about us, won't you?
So until next time, family, see you soon.
The Ravensvale Cauldron is a production of Small Raven Media. Today's episode was hosted by Ed Bolden Greer with co-host Jacob A. Garner. Audio engineering and sound design by Nick Devan at Nicky D Sound. Copyrighted 2024, Small Raven Media. All rights reserved.